What's going on, brother? We're back again.
Yes.
NICK Pelletier. We got a few of these going, I guess, because there's so much to cover. So we got into the Navy last time.
Yes.
So today we'll do post Navy, and see how the challenges, and was it easy? Was it hard?
Mm-hmm.
I think most people they don't probably understand how hard it is afterwards.
For sure.
You've been programmed basically for 8 years
Yep.
to be at a certain time or do things a certain way, and all of a sudden you get out and you're gonna have to face that on your own, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And also the buddy system that you guys built,
For sure.
which I envy on in the regular walking world.
Mm-hmm.
You guys kind of keep that brotherhood going. If you're in the military, you get to experience that for a little bit longer. Because,
Yeah.
After high school, everybody just goes their separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong timing. Sorry about that, guys. So how are you, my brother? How's your day?
Good, man. Good. Just working. Just get off the fire department this morning. So
Jesus. And those shifts are like, how are your shifts when it comes to firefighting?
So this one was just a 24-hour shift. So you stay there all day, all night. You sleep there, if you can.
Wait, so every shift is 24 hours?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. So, wow. So you work how many days then?
So I work 2 days a week. So I
Okay.
work 24 on, 24 hours off, 24 hours on, and then I get 5 days off. Unless I get overtime or anything like that. But that's
Something
like the
crazy
normal.
happens.
Yeah. And I like it because it helps
Well-
me do all my other stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
Uh-huh.
still, 24 hours is 24 hours.
Yeah.
So that day is probably the longest day ever.
Yesterday was so long.
Yeah.
And then it just dragged on through the night. So you're getting like sporadic, a couple hours sleep here, an hour here, and then you're just like, ugh.
Oh,
it's
man.
morning.
And when after the Navy, was this, you told me you took a break,
Mhm.
about a year break.
Yeah.
How was that? Did you enjoy that, or were you panicking, or was it not fun at all? You were just worried about,
Yeah.
like, what am I going to do?
I was worried because you're so, like you said earlier, you're programmed and you get out and you're just like, oh, I can do this. You think that you can fit right back into where you kind of left,
Yeah.
but you can't.
Everybody's moved on.
Exactly. It's almost 9 years gone into this program, into the military, and you get out and you're just like, what's next?
What's next?
And so that struggle of doing that, because I didn't have a job really lined up right away. I had some things, let's go to school, figure out what I want to do. I've always wanted to become a firefighter and do that. That's what I did while I was in the military. I got all my stuff set up, did all this.
Your certificates, everything
And then
ready.
you had to wait. And you're just like, well, I thought like being a veteran,
You just
I
get
have all the qualifications. Everybody be knocking. Hey.
Yeah, that's something that we should probably work on as a country. I think we should do a better job on veterans. If you come back and you cleared, we should have like things
Yeah.
for them to just get into, like firefighting or cops. I mean, I think veterans will probably do a good job of all those things. You
Yeah.
know, so you would think it would be just you walk right in,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's not like that. Huh?
It was they do a better job than they used to. So
Progress. That's good.
Yeah, for absolutely. So the administration that I had before I got out was what? So Obama's, right? They made sure like you could go through a course that prepared you to kind of get out. But once again, the course was set up just like how it was to enter boot camp. So much information, so much time, and here you go. Good luck. And I mean, good for them. At least they're trying.
Yeah.
So you have to go through a course, and I went through that thing 3 times.
How hard is this course?
So it's not so much, it's information to get you out. So think about like healthcare.
Okay.
Like you join the military, you don't got to worry about it. They
Yeah.
just take it out of your paycheck. You go to the doctor, you're good. Same with the dentist. Same with anything else you need.
It's just
You
taken
could.
care of. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like an all-inclusive stay at a resort. And then you get out, you're like, yo, I don't have that same deal anymore. What do I do? You're like, healthcare. Oh, insurance.
So now you have to just
different.
figure all that stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And most people already have, but
Yeah.
you have to start from scratch.
It's definitely it is different if you don't take a government job, and that's the thing where they help you write a resume, they help you set it up, they set up interviews, like mock interviews, so you can kind of reintegrate yourself. And I was like, I'm good. I'm 20. I'm at the first time I went through it, I was
hard
like
can it be?
24, 25. I was like, dude, I'm on top of the world. You're not gonna tell me what I need in it.
Yeah.
And you face the fact, you're like, oof, I'm gonna stay in for another 3 years. And then I stayed in, and then I was able to take the course twice because of where I was at in Rhode Island. It was a very chill command for me to learn how to do this properly, and that's what I did. So I took it 2 more times to make sure myself is set. That's when I was like, all right, go to school. All right, go here, go do this. And I was like, let's take a year off. Let's see what I can do to integrate myself again. And
Probably smart on your part.
I was very, very, very blessed and lucky to be in that situation.
Yeah,
Financially, it was a little gut check because like, oh, dang, I'm not making as much money as I thought I was.
Adjustment period.
For sure. And then I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
And everything changes.
Yo.
Don't we all wish it worked like that, huh?
For sure, man.
Not that simple.
It triggered me, and then that's when I set myself up. That's what got me into real estate, really, to see that. The Rich Dad, Poor Dad book.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if you're looking to invest or do anything, that's the book to start. It's easy read. Doesn't have any, you can't color in the lines or anything. You know what I mean? So my other military people, certain branches, you gotta read.
Exactly.
For all of you that weren't in the military, just another book,
Exactly.
But it opens up your mindset, and that's where I traded.
Did you read that while in the Navy?
I was actually a couple months before I got out.
Nice.
And I read that book, and I was like, okay, now I know what I want to do for school. I got into UMass Lowell business. So I got out in November, and I started in January for school. So I was right into school within a couple of months, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do business administration. Let's see what's going on here. And that's like where my real estate hunger, business mindset kind of just started.
From there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And you accomplished all of it. You're doing all of it, which
for
is
sure.
Again, that's the beauty of it. Most people talk about it, but nobody actually the process of achieving stuff, nobody sees it, and that's the hard part.
Sure.
So I could definitely relate to that. So that year that you were off, did you, besides the work part, did you have any difficulties when it came down to like just socializing or, school, something you haven't done, and something that's not fun for most of us?
For sure.
So how was that process like?
It was challenging because when you're gone, you have your family. You're like, oh, I can't wait to see my family again, and you come back, and it is different. They're not the same because 9 years have passed. You're not the same.
Yeah.
But you don't think it. You don't realize that you've matured in certain ways, that your friends at the same age, like us, you come back, like there's certain things that I matured more than say you did, and then you matured in one way than I did, and it's just like trying to find that balance again. It's like we're the same person, but we've went through total different paths to get here, so you have to like understand that.
Exactly.
And some of your friends just my really other good friends are just like chilling, and I was like, I can't just chill. Like there's this fire inside of me now, dude, that I'm just not.
Exactly.
It's just not chill mode.
Exactly. And it's one thing I've learned, especially doing something like this, is you have to respect everybody's.
For sure.
Because sometimes, especially me, I went through this where I'm just like, well, if I'm doing it, you could do it.
Yeah.
And that is just not true.
No, it's not, because it's the mind. It's that ambition that you have on the wall here, right?
Exactly.
And that motivation. It's like, what motivates you to do that?
Exactly.
If it doesn't motivate you, it's easy for you to say, if I can do it, you can do it.
Exactly.
It's like, I guess that might motivate some people.
Yeah.
But others, you're like, no.
Yeah.
For me, it motivated me.
And you found something.
Yes.
So, like for me, I wanted every single one of my friends to join and like be a part of the podcast in the studio in whatever way. And at first I was like, man, that's messed up. They're not really like being into it like I am.
Yeah.
Then I realized I'm like, well, they just not they don't have that. I can't demand a passion out of them that they just don't have for it. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So I was like, all right, I understood it, and I let it go. But at first I was like, that's messed up. But it is what it is.
And then you find your clique. So my business partner now, him and I grew up together, right, since like the 3rd grade. And I went to the military. We would text here and there. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. I was a few years older than him too. So he was going through the process of when I went to the military, he was then going to graduate high school. So he was a year or two behind us.
Yep.
So he had to go through high school graduation while I was going through the first couple of years of the military. So it was a lot of adjustment for both of us. And then he gets out, he goes to UMass Lowell. So freshman, sophomore year, it's a lot going, now that I went through it, I'm like, dude, college, you look at college students, you're like, oh, that's an easy walk in the park. It's like, not necessarily if you're not very academic.
Yeah, it's not for everybody, right?
No.
And they
hate
push
that.
this on everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody should go to college. That is the way to go, and it's just not correct. For me, I am not a good learner when it comes to a school in a school form. I just don't learn that way.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it, I don't know what it is. What I'm not dumb, but I just don't learn in that environment. I had teachers that were great, and they kind of figured me out and made things interesting for me. And I was like, okay, this is easy.
Yeah.
But you just don't get that all the time.
For sure.
So, it's not for everybody.
I agree. And the thing that I feel like at our age when everybody's like, oh, go to college, because our parents didn't. So they're like, oh, well, let's push you to go because it's more affordable. You can do this, and it gives you a better life than what I had. And so I understand that. But a part of that is they think that academics equals intelligence.
Correct.
Right? And they're like, oh, knowledge is power. No. Knowledge is power if it's implied.
Correct.
You have to apply that.
Correct.
Like my sister, she is super smart. She makes so much money now because she is academically smart.
And she applies it.
Exactly. And she applies it. She knows how to do it. For me, I'm like, oh, I get the academic side.
Yeah.
But I need to do hands-on. Like, I need to read the instruction and then I need to do it.
Yeah.
I can't just read it, memorize it like she could, and then go and do it.
Yeah, it's funny. That's me and my wife. She's like, you do not read instructions. But like, I do. I just don't understand them like you do.
Facts.
Like, if I look at somebody, they don't even have to talk. I just look and I'll get stuff that way.
Yes.
But if you tell me, I guess I'm bad at reading and comprehension. So like for me, reading, I need a little bit of time. Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
So yeah, it's tricky.
Yes.
Like those things you can't. Oh, Jesus Christ! Hold on. So yeah, those things are like you have to have the brains for it. You have to figure out the best thing I tell anybody is figure out a way that you learn because everybody learns different, and that's very big part of everything.
Yes.
How do you learn? Do you know that? Most people do not know that aspect of things. And everybody learns different. So what's your process to figure it out? Like I learned, I'm a visual learner.
Yep.
So if I want to learn anything, I need to shadow somebody and I'll pick it up better that way.
100%.
Reading does not work. I don't know what. Maybe because my English is not, my first language. So I'm assuming that's what it is.
No. I mean, with English being my one and only language, I'm still like, nah, bro, I need to see it. And that's what I like about the firefighting side. And because it's action, you see, it's like they say, monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
And it's just like, let's go. I can handle that. But how are you going to read how to be a firefighter? How are you going to read? Read to be a real estate agent or read to be an investor. Like there's a point that you have to read to understand. For me, I was just reading the academics of it where the scholars want you to kind of stay in the lines.
Yeah.
But if you want to make a name for yourself, you can't just always follow the rules. I'm not saying break rules. I'm not saying that. But you have to reach outside your limits because who's ever telling you those guidelines are setting those limits.
Exactly.
Like the speed limit. I'm not saying go out and break the speed limit. But if you're on a track and you need to become the fastest person, then you break the limit.
Exactly.
But you're within that element. You're in that environment that allows you to do so. So getting out of the military, I'm out of that environment. I have to find my own.
Yeah.
So then I meet up again with my business partner now, best friend, and he's super motivated. I was like, finally, somebody that's like at this level where now, wait a minute, is not good.
Yeah.
It's like, no, what is it? I know you know. Don't be lazy. We understand that people, businesses, people take vacations. People need to rest. We get that. But
when it's go time, it's go time.
let's roll.
Yeah. I got that. The first time I felt that was with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I tell everybody, you want to change your life, and I know that sounds not not great if you just having kids just because but for me that's what it did. I was like, I mean, I always been a hard worker and I always been working, but the minute I had kids, I was like, okay, like I quadrupled the amount of work I was putting out.
Mm-hmm.
Even I didn't think I could,
Sure.
but now I had this in the back of my head. I'm like, I don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time. I was 23. I'm like, right then I was like, I do not have time. I need to make something happen right now.
Yeah.
And then I had that feeling again at 30. At 30 again, I was like, okay, I'm 30. I need to make, I tell everybody, the most important years of your life is going to be, and of course, this is not for everybody. It doesn't qualify for everybody. But for most people, from 30 to 40, if you waste it, the later years are going to be tough on you.
Mm-hmm.
If you waste your 30s and 40, it's going to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell all my friends, I'm like, we're 30 now, time to go. No more time to play around. You need to figure this shit out now.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, you're gonna be struggling when you're old.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the last thing you want to do is not have everything figured out when you're an older age.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I definitely understand that. And it's like you said, not everybody is at that point, and it's tough when you are and everybody else around you is not.
Yeah.
That's why I started this by myself, and then people came after. After it started, but I had to get it, go on my own because at first I was just talking about it and everybody, yeah, but nobody would do anything. So I was just like, all right, well, I'll do it by myself, and then whoever's interested will be attracted to it and they'll come on their own. And that's what I did basically. So passion and finding that drive is probably the most important thing. It probably is better than being smart.
I agree.
If you have the fire, and you're just gonna go.
Yeah.
So you did that year and waited. Then you went to school. Then you graduated, and it was all for business. How did you start firefighting during that whole time?
So I started in 2019? January 2019 is when I started. I got onto the fire department up in New Hampshire. And then I was still in school. Like, I didn't graduate because I started in January 2018. Yeah. Okay. And so I was at least a year into school. So you got all like the whatever, like the academic classes, right? I call them the BS classes.
Yeah, the boring ones.
Yeah,
the boring ones.
The boring classes out of the way. And then I got into the fire department. I was like, oh, this is like cool. And then I'm doing hands-on, and then I'm doing academics after. So I was getting the taste of both worlds. But then I was like, how can I apply both? And I met a couple of guys at the fire station, and he's a couple of years older than me, and he had gotten hurt, like career-ending hurt. And I'm just like, man, what do I have? If I can't do this, what do I have? And I was like, not much.
Wow. So you right away, you were already thinking, okay, so I'm striving for this, but it could be taken away in the blink of an eye. I could get hurt, and then what?
Yeah.
So you thought that far before you even started. That's amazing.
And watching athletes, like we're kids, like the anomaly is Tom Brady, right? Yeah. Where you're like, oh my God,
super abnormal.
So long his career went, 42, 43. And so you're like, oh, what you going to do after? that was our whole childhood.
Yeah.
I watched him since I was like 9 or 10.
Yes.
And then you don't see his struggles. Now we're adults,
Yeah.
but you see all those players that were in before him struggle.
Yeah.
And then I love the fact that you do podcasts, because now you see these podcasts where these athletes are talking about it.
How hard it was.
And you're like, whoa, how did you struggle with millions of dollars? How could you struggle?
People don't.
But they don't know.
Yeah.
Imagine if we at 18, 19, 20 years old had millions of dollars. Everybody looks at these athletes like, oh, you're supposed to be mature. And the ones that are pointing the fingers, you're 45. What do you have?
Exactly.
Who are you to talk to this 18-year-old kid who all he knew was basketball? You don't know he sacrificed so much. And you think, oh, he's a thug. He's this. He's trouble. Bro, this kid sacrificed everything. What did you do?
Yeah.
What did you sacrifice at
Exactly.
16, 17, 18, 19 years old?
That's like Ja Morant. Like, I get it.
Right.
Some of those stuff is so dumb, right?
Yes.
But he didn't really hurt nobody,
No,
right?
for
It
sure.
is it's stupid. Like, what he's doing is
Yes.
just childish.
Yes.
It's not really like this guy is a bad person. It's just
He's maturing.
correct.
He's what, 23? Right?
If that. Yeah.
22?
Yeah.
And
Correct.
so think about it. Granted, he grew up, his family, they say, oh, his family's well off and this. He didn't grow up in the hood or whatever they say, but it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You don't have to be in the hood to act that way. You can be in a good situation, but you're trying to fit in too. He's
Exactly.
trying to be that, no, I'm my own person. I can do this. I can do that. Let him. Like, he didn't kill. He didn't shoot.
Exactly.
You have
Like,
all these other people.
we're not saying nothing should be done. Of course,
for sure.
somebody should step in and talk to them and like, hey, you shouldn't do
Yes.
this. But the way they went about it, I thought it was all wrong. I mean,
They blew it out of proportion.
yeah, like all the media and all the sports channels were just like, and then I was just thinking about it. I'm like, there's way worse stuff that has happened.
Yes.
Come on.
But think about it, they do that.
Yeah.
Think about how LeBron James is. I was watching something about him. They don't talk about all the stuff he's done for Akron, Ohio.
Yeah.
Since, I think, 2018, 2017, he started a school for kids in Ohio.
Dude.
Low income, no money.
Just this year, he announced that anybody that goes to his school, along with the families of those kids, will all have an apartment.
Bro, think about that.
Jesus.
Free school, free place to live.
Yep.
Like, who is doing that? But yet we want to talk, oh, he's not the greatest. Who cares? This guy is making a name outside of basketball.
Exactly.
You know, and then watching the Djokovic, right?
Oh, yeah.
His interviews, basketball ain't even his thing.
Yeah.
He's like, there's more things outside of basketball. This
Correct.
guy is one of the greatest right now. Stats.
Yes. Yes.
And he's just
hands
like,
down.
I'm
Like,
just chilling. Like,
it doesn't care.
can you imagine
Doesn't
being
care.
that good at your job? You're just like, you're the best. You're one of 4 people to have a stat line in the NBA championship. And he's like, that's not even that big.
Yeah.
Bro said that. Triple double.
Yeah.
It's
is
not even that
triple-double.
big. Not even that big of a deal.
And the funny part is he talks like he plays.
Bro.
Like he's not trying. It looks like he's not trying.
Exactly.
I'll be pissed if I was him. Like, can you at least look like you're doing something,
All right.
working hard?
Sweat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Struggle something. But it helps being gifted and being that big in the NBA too.
Yeah.
But if you just work on something, they say that if you work on something for 18 minutes a day, every single day, 18 minutes,
That's it.
you could become an expert at the end of a year. So think about that. If you just, like for me, you read a book, like I don't like reading, but if you just say, okay, 18 minutes, this is what I'm doing every single day, no exceptions, this is what I do. And then you're like, oh, okay, that wasn't bad. What else what if I do for 20 minutes? What if I just do an hour now? Every day an hour is this.
Yeah. It's like the military. The way they do everything is just don't think about the big picture.
Yeah.
Think about just what you see ahead
Step.
of you. That's it. Just take that first step. You worry about the next one.
Yeah.
And that's a good advice for anything, basically.
For
That
sure.
applies to anything. Because if you think on a grand scale of everything,
You're
life,
never moving.
yeah, and it's just overwhelming.
For sure.
Like I was thinking, like last podcast I did, we were having a conversation about how, I only been doing it for 6 months, and then I've been interviewing some of these people, some of these artists that have been at it for 10 years, 12 years. And I sat there and I'm like, oh my God, like I can't even like tell you how a year from now it's gonna be. So if I even start thinking about that far ahead, I probably won't make it. So I'm like, I would just take it one step at a time and take it how it goes. Of course, I'm going to be working as hard as possible, but not with that, thinking so far ahead, because it doesn't help anybody.
Nope.
And then also, when you put all these goals so far ahead and you're not meeting them at the speed that you think in your mind you're supposed to, it kind of just drags you down and it weighs you down and makes you probably quit at some point.
Yeah, and it's super depressing. Like, you think, oh, I'm a failure because of this and that.
I'm 25 and I'm not rich.
When people say that age thing,
yeah,
it's like, oh, at this age I'm supposed to have this, at this age. But it says who?
Exactly.
Like, who do you want to be? Do you want to be you, or do you want to be the majority? Like, I got caught up into that. I'm like, oh,
I think we all do.
So do that.
Yeah, I think we all do it. And it's also the generation before us. Like,
sure,
they grew up that way, and times change.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm kind of going off a little bit from the topic, but it's okay. It's kind of like, I don't know if generations have changed as much as it is. It's changing so fast.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I would talk to with a 15. I'm only 30. If I go to talk to a 15-year-old, it's going to be like, it's not, it's just so different. And I don't think before it was changing that much. Yeah. Our generation was so out of touch. Like, I don't know for you, but like, my dad did not like rap, right? That was not his thing growing up. And then for me, I like rap, but then the rap I like compared to the rap that's being made now, I'm like, totally what is going on? So it's changing. Music and just culture is changing so fast. And I don't know if maybe the internet has a lot to do with that, but like, I feel like in some aspects tradition is good, but in some aspects it should be changed. So like, I don't teach my kids, or I don't preach to my kids, college is the end and be all of anything. If you do not go to college, you will not do anything, which is what I was told. If you don't go to college, you will be nothing. And I removed that from my kids. I'm like, well, we'll figure it out. If college is for you, we'll go that route. If you pick a career that involves that, then we'll go that route. But if you don't worry about it. It's fine. You could do other stuff. So yeah, it just comes with change.
For me, I was very lucky because my parents, my parents got divorced when I was younger. So I had like two moms, like two dads, they both remarried. So I had that, and then I had all my grandparents is still alive. Grandparents are still alive today. So I lived with my mom and my pops, and they were very like, you don't have to go to college, but like you got to do something after high school. Like, you're not just living in our house for free.
No.
You know what I mean? No. So, and the thing that I liked is my brother, he's older. I'm the middle child, and then my sister's the baby. So we were all three different people, but they didn't raise us all the same. Like if we got punished, they would punish each of us differently. If we wanted to go do something fun or this and that, it was kind of each of our own. So my sister had to go to college. Like, that's how she operated. She had to be that academics. My brother, he was more like, nah, college just ain't for you. You got to go do something. The military is perfect for him. Me, I was like, I'm in between because I see my older brother and I see my younger sister. I was like, how can I balance this? How can I do both? So that's what I did. Joined the military with him. And then I got out. She had her degrees. I was like, okay, let me try this too. So I had like both ends of the stick to be like, hey, you should try both. And that's where it led me to, hey, real estate is that thing now where I can learn how to apply some of that academic knowledge that I learned. And then I can also fix the house too. And then you learn about the reality of how America works.
When it comes to that's complicated. We should high school we should definitely teach kids about owning a house, taxes, and all these other interests, all these other stuff that you figure out afterwards. Some people don't figure out till
later. Yes, if ever.
Exactly. Some people buy a house and they're like, oh shoot, I completely messed this up. So I get it.
That's why I say there's more real estate agents out there than there are homes for sale, right, in America.
Yes.
And it's like, same with lenders. There's a dime a dozen for lenders. There's a mix of somebody out there for you You just got to find them. Don't just stick with them. Oh, well, because of my mom uses this person, it's going to be, well, your mom is different than you, right?
Times is different too.
Exactly. So you don't got to use them. And I'm not saying like I'm the one shoe that fits all. For me, I'm tailored to more like investment side. How can I make you not rich, but wealthy?
Exactly.
You know, like wealth takes some time. Riches you can have here and there, but you can lose it. If you're rich, you can lose it and be poor. If you're wealthy, if you lose your wealth, you're probably dead. You know what I mean?
You
like,
messed up.
you
messed
like,
up.
there's stuff out there. So that's where having my business partner, he's very financially savvy with things like that, like insurance, like life insurance.
Yeah.
Like he's like, you're supposed to be using that while you're living.
Yeah.
It's not called death insurance. It's called life insurance.
Yes.
And we're like, okay, so we started a policy. So we're saving here. Then we can pull it out and start our own bank to use that to invest.
Exactly.
And then we don't have a lender saying, no, you can't do that because you don't have X, Y, Z. It's like, no, I have my own money now. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Exactly.
You know, I got that.
Yeah, no, people definitely don't know things like that. No. People don't know about equity from your own house. Man, people let their 401k get lost. They just leave it on there. They just like, oh, they just think it's like, no, you gotta watch the market and take it out at the right time. Yeah. So again, everything's a learning curve for everybody. So you went to college, you graduated, you became a firefighter right after college and a realtor.
Yeah.
Out of the two, which one do you enjoy the most? Oh, they're like
it's
different.
mixed. It's mixed for sure. Sometimes as a realtor, the clients they can over exaggerate what they want compared to like reality.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, yeah, let's go. I'm motivated. I don't want to lose you as a client. Let's go see these homes. And then you're just like, I'm wasting a lot of our time, not just my time, but our time.
Yeah.
It's not helpful. So that was a tough part, is like learning that, because it took me a couple of years to understand that. But the fire department side, it's like, it's always different. That's what I love about it. You never know
what's gonna happen.
For sure. So
I never know how the day's gonna go.
Yeah, like going to an office, sitting in a cubicle, running numbers, or doing this and that never motivated me.
Yeah, no.
Like,
not me either.
You could be sitting on a beach, put me there, and I still like, this is not motivating.
I need some action.
Dude, I need something.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where I think real estate in the fire department really hits me both ways, because it's like completely different every time.
And you could do both.
Exactly. Yeah. So right now I have 5 days off, and that's what I'm doing this whole week, is we're looking at buying more investment properties, you know, because we just set ourselves up, and now we're like, if we don't spend this money, we have to pay taxes.
Yes.
Imagine paying taxes on thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, no, I worked too hard for this. You didn't. Like, exactly. I'm going to keep mine. Exactly. I already paid you with my life.
Exactly.
For this country. Exactly. I ain't paying you too.
Exactly. And those are tricks, that you have to learn. Like, I'm learning a lot when it comes to, the LLC and having a business, and the opportunities that allows you to have, and the little avenues that it provides, that you can move things around and avoid certain things. And yeah, I mean, most people do not know any of this stuff. Most people will have a business and don't even have an LLC for years and years and years, and it's just like, what are you doing?
Yes. So for me, when I have like friends that are doing stuff like yourself and other people doing their businesses, my thing now is, where are you doing your work?
Yeah.
Because I had that LLC business mindset in real estate. It's like, where are you doing your work? Do you own that piece of property that you're operating in?
Yep.
If you don't, are you even interested in doing it? Some people are like, nah, I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to do this. It's like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Sacrifice 12% of your income.
Yep.
And let somebody else, that's their thing, do that.
Yep.
And that's what we do. We're property managers too. So we set ourselves up though to now where we're managing over like 220 units. And of those, 10, 11 of them are our own investments.
Oh, nice.
So we're doing it for other people, but we're also doing it for ourselves.
Exactly. So you grow theirs and also grow your portfolio at the same time.
And we're trying to wedge ourselves into making it like, you need us.
Yeah.
We have a 207 residential property that we manage. We don't own it.
Yeah.
But we see the cash flow and we're like, bro, can you imagine?
This is where we need to go.
Like, we grew up in low income. I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, how are you making that much money a month?
Yeah.
Like, and you just chilling like it ain't nothing.
Yeah.
What is
Well, again, that saying has kind of been corrupted. The work harder, not smarter.
Mm-hmm.
I think you gotta work smart and hard
Yeah.
to then not work hard.
Facts. Yeah.
But you can't not work hard. Like work hard has to be on there somewhere.
Mhm. Yeah.
At least in the beginning.
For
And then
sure.
if you're smart enough, you might not have to keep working as hard.
Mm-hmm.
But you're gonna have to work hard in the beginning.
Yeah.
At some point.
I agree. There's a balance on that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if I'm working hard, I use this analogy. It's like you want to go somewhere, right? You don't get on a stationary bike and pedal to get there. You don't get on a treadmill to get there. You're still working hard.
Yeah.
You're still putting in that energy, but you're going nowhere. Get on that road and get going. Get a bike, get a car, walk, run, sprint, whatever, but you have to move.
Exactly.
You can't just stay in the house on a bike and expect to get across the street when you're not moving.
Correct.
You know, so that's why I think the confusion is where, work harder, not smarter, or you have to work hard to get that. It's like, yes, you do, because you're still putting in that energy to get there. But are you actually going somewhere? Are you smart enough to know, like, I put the car in drive, I put my shoes on, I have my bike, you know, to go somewhere rather than just stay stationary.
Yeah.
And that was a huge thing, like mental for me was like, okay, you have to get out and apply it. So I had like really good people to help me do that. So my wife, she helped me get going on things like that, where she motivated me to go forward, you know, and she helped a lot with, I was like, yo, screw school. I don't need that.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with my wife. She helps a lot when it comes to like doubts.
Yeah.
She's
Facts,
like,
dude.
what are you doing? No, do it. Like, what are you talking about? You could do it. You know what I'm saying? Those little things. They might not be as hands-on.
For sure.
But that's not all the helps. A lot of the, I might say probably the most important help is sometimes just that push.
Mm-hmm.
Just having that person that believes in what you're doing. He might
For
not
sure.
be involved in it, but
Yeah.
or she might not be involved in it, but they still believe in what you're doing and
sure.
they push you
Yeah.
into it. Like I, you know, it took me a while to pull the trigger on this.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was just like, you already talk enough. You already talk a lot. Like, it makes sense. Just do it.
Get them out before you come home.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm 100%. So, yeah, I mean, you got to take the support whichever way you get it, you know?
For sure.
So when you went, you went to firefighting school, was it like most careers when it comes to school? Is not the same. School is one thing, but then when you're actually doing the job, it's a little different. Did you experience that or no?
So the fire academy, I didn't go to a traditional one here. I actually did it while I was in the military.
Okay.
So I had to do it on the weekends. I think I spoke a little bit about it. So every Saturday and Sunday for, I think it was like 12 or 14 weeks. Like it was like a boot camp for me, you know? So imagine you already went through a boot camp and you're like, oh, I want to do that again. You know, you're like, ugh. But it was that passion that I was like, okay, it's for a moment. This is going to be 12 weeks compared to a 40-year career. Like, suck it up and just do it. And it was easy stuff because I already knew how to shine boots. I already knew how to iron my clothes. Like, that was the stuff.
The structure of it.
Yeah, I was already fit. Like, I knew that getting yelled at, they're not yelling at you to demoralize you.
Yeah.
They're yelling at you to get into a way of, if you are at a fire situation or an EMS situation and it's a child and you have mom yelling and crying in your ear to save her baby, are you going to be like,
and panic?
Like, no. So that's the stuff that you don't see until after, you know, because at first you're like, oh man, I messed up. And then I have a really good mentor now. And he's like, listen, I'm going to ride you during training. He goes, everybody is going to get questioned, but you, because you're the newer guy, I'm going to get on you because I need to know that in push comes to shove that you got it. He goes, I need you to mess up here.
This is the time to mess up
now.
Yeah.
I can correct you here, but I can't correct you after the fact and then say somebody had died or you cause more injury to yourself or to others.
To your teammates.
So, he was one of those guys. I was like, why are you so like, dude, I'm a grown man now.
Yeah.
Like, this ain't boot camp. Why are you yelling at me? Right? He's like, well, this is why.
Yeah.
You know, because all that training. But then you have that respect for that person where it's like, maybe you don't like how he leads or whatever. But for me, I was like, it's he cares enough to make sure that I'm safe, we're all safe, and then the people are safe.
Yes, a lot of people a lot of people might miss out on a guy like that
Mm-hmm.
because of their feelings so
For
much.
sure.
I experienced that. Like I work with Russians,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I at first everybody would tell me like, oh, they're so hard ass, like they're
Mm-hmm.
so like they're not the way they speak to you, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, but these dudes mean well. Everything
Yeah.
they're saying, it might be their culture. That's how their culture
Yeah.
is. And they, for like a regular American person, if they go into that office and they're not used to that, they're gonna be like, oh my God, these dudes are terrible.
Yeah.
But I learned, it took me a little bit, I learned that they just want the best for me, and they're not gonna sugarcoat it or be around the bush.
For sure.
They don't have time for that.
No.
They're like, no, this is, and they told me right away, it was like, you can't take anything personal here. This is a business. Problems come up. We got to deal with the problems. And in the meantime, people, we might get angry. We might say things, and you have to learn to let that go.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, nobody here is trying to demean you or anything. We're all just trying to make it to a destination. And we don't have time to like be around the bush with things. We got to tell you the things how it is, straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
You might not like that, but this is how it is.
For sure.
And I learned a lot from those guys because I'm like, oh, these dudes are great. They just talk different. They sound like they're yelling at you and they're not. Like me and my boss will go at it all the time. And people will be like, but that's your boss. And I'm like, but he has that freedom. He's like, he's not like, I could talk to you this way, but you cannot talk to me this way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I tell my boss all the time, like, you fucked up today. All right?
Yep.
You go home.
Yeah.
And then if I'm right, he just sits there and takes it.
For sure.
Right? He's
For
like,
sure.
all right, I messed up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. Some people can't do that. It's
No. And that's the thing that I feel that growing up in this culture, this society now, when you say the kids are different, the technology, I have like younger cousins and I see what they do and I just want to like shake them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, is that what our parents would say with us? They're like, I just want to shake you. Like, It doesn't matter about the likes. It doesn't matter about social media. But to a point, because I'm the same way where I'm like, I need my business to pop. So I need those likes. I need promoting. I need that.
Yeah.
But I don't need to be like, I need to feel accepted anymore.
Correct.
I'm at that point where it's like, I don't really care what you think about me anymore. I'm still, please believe me, I'm not preaching. I'm still like at that point where it does matter what you think about me to a point.
Yes.
Like, am I personally, like, do you like me? I like that because I'm very personable when I do my business. But do you think that my business is worth your time?
Correct.
Like, am I worth your time, your money that you're investing in me? Because time is the only thing you can't replace.
Yes.
You can lose $1 million today, be devastated. But if you're still blessed with time, now I made my millions doing it this way. It took me, say, 5 years to make $1 million. I have 5 years of knowledge of time in my head. What if I had made that in 2.5 years? Half the time. I already know the information.
Exactly.
I already got it.
It's kind of the same thing with this. People ask me, it's like, oh, what if something goes wrong? Or like, I'm like, well, it's kind of, I'll probably make it better now because I already know the pitfalls and
For sure.
where I went wrong the first time. So I kind of have like a little outline of what to do now.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just be easier.
For sure.
Of course you don't want that, but if it happens, you're kind of ready for it.
And that's the other thing too, is like you have those. The term is probably a little bit too far, but I mean, we're going to go there, like doubters, like your friends that, well, what if this happens? What if this? Well, guess what? What if I didn't do it?
Exactly.
What if? And I'm going to sit here and cry about it.
Yes.
Like, I would rather try it and fail
miserably
and be like,
you learn.
Fudge.
You
like,
learn from it. Yeah, man.
But at least you tried it. It gives you that courage. You think like, okay, what's the worst that's going to happen? That's what when I'm doing the fire stuff and I'm climbing up a ladder, right? And this thing is shaking, it's moving, it's 105 feet in the air. And I'm just like, what's the worst that's going to happen? I say, it sounds morbid. I'm like, I fall and I die.
Yeah.
So don't fall.
Exactly.
Don't fall.
Exactly.
This machine, this is built by smart academic people like my sister build this thing.
Yeah.
And then you got people like me that's like, I need to climb that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I need to go.
That's where you get your excitement.
So for me, it's like, what's the worst? I would rather I feel like the worst thing is regretting not doing it.
Yes. I put up there's a clip I put out. It was not a full podcast. I was not doing full podcast then, but it was a little clip I put out. One of the first clips I put out. And then that's what I said. I'm like, the worst thing you could do is regret, because you can't change it.
No.
So with this, everybody was like, telling me like, I was thinking the same way you were thinking. I'm like, so what's the worst thing that could happen? And then what's the best thing that could happen? And if you match those two, you're always going to lean into what's the best thing, because I'm like, all right, well, if it doesn't work, or if I'm not good on camera, if I'm not a good speaker, some people may laugh for a day or two. But if it works,
click.
If it works, I could make a living for the rest of my life.
For sure.
And provide for my children. That outweighs the worst part that could happen, which I get some people to laugh at me.
And you're doing what you want to do.
Exactly.
Like, you're setting that example, especially for your children, where you want to show them the best example. And I don't have children, but I have like nieces and nephew, and I try to like, you find yourself trying to like put you into them. You're like, hey, you got to do this. You got to, like, dude, chill. Like, you didn't like that when your parents did it. Like, you're your own individual person. I was just with my niece and nephew, and same parents, same household, a year and some change different of age. She's 5 and he's 3. They couldn't be more different. And I'm just like, she's the older one, so she's like, she is very, very smart, and it like frustrates me when I'm with her because she's like, why is this, why is that? She's like telling me, she's like, oh, to go to the park you have to go this way, this way, this way. I'm like, you're 5. You're not Siri. Like, what do you know? I'm the adult here.
Exactly.
And then like her brother, he's more like how I am. Well, like but it's boys and girls. Like, you see it right there.
Well, it's not just boys and girls, because I have 2 boys and they're the same way. One is very smart and very like thoughtful and in his head, right? And then I have another one who is not thinking about nothing. He's just worried about where he's gonna run and what he's gonna break, and that's all.
Is he the second?
He's the youngest.
I wonder if it's not just boy girl. I think it may be like the first and the second, because my brother, he's very like slow to react to things.
Same
Same
thing with me and my sister.
I'm just like, I'm going. Yeah, I'll check later.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, let's go.
Me and my sister are the same way. So it might be like a younger, like, and it might be because as a younger brother or younger sister, you kind of get to see them.
I think so too.
So then it's kind of like, well, he did it, I'm not scared.
Yeah,
I already saw him do it.
Yeah, for sure.
But he didn't have nobody to look at.
Exactly.
He had to feel his way through it when the little brother could just be like, he did it, he didn't get hurt, I could just do it. So
like, think about like walking and talking. Right. Now to think about it, and it kind of correlates to like how life is, right? If you see somebody walking and talking already, that's why it's typically the second kid or the third kid is like boom, boom, boom. And they always make a joke where, by the third baby, you're like handing him over to the mechanic, hold his baby real quick so I can. But the first, I was like, oh my God, I got to check him. I got to.
And you probably put that in the first one. You probably put those fears that you have. You're like, yeah. So
drop
then,
the egg.
Yeah. So then they're like, yeah. It makes sense.
And that's why when I'm with them, I want them to like try to experience, like do dangerous things, but like let me try to be there to catch you at the fall.
I think Adrian Peterson, I don't know if you know who he is, but he says.
Do I know who he is? Bro, don't disrespect me like that.
Everybody knows who he is. But yeah, he has that same thing where he says like you want your kids to do dangerous things in a controlled environment.
Yes, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? But you want them to you don't not want to stop your kid from taking risk.
For sure.
That's gonna harm them when they grow up.
Yeah.
So you should push them to do things and dangerous things. Just try to control it as much as you can.
For sure.
And if like me, I'm with my kids. I'm that way. Like I look, if I try to weigh the risk. I'm like, is he gonna break something? Yeah. No, he might get scratched. Okay, he might get scratched. But you let it happen because that's a good way to learn also for the kids.
Because they need to have those. Think about like us. You need those training scars. That's what we call them. Yeah. Training. Like you need to do it during training, not during like real life situations. And that's like a huge thing with the fire department and military. So you need to get these scars here in training. That's why we train all the time.
So much.
Yeah. So when reality comes, it's simple.
Second nature.
Think about like even athletes. If you can't relate to being like in the military or relate to being a firefighter or something, think about just like athletes. They train all the time. Like, look at Kobe Bryant. He talked about it, you know. I trained. And then practice was harder than games. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, they said the game was easy.
Yeah, he's like, that's when I chilled.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I can do what I do. I find my shots, I find my rhythm. And he just trained, he's one of those anomalies where, you know, he trains, but he started at 16.
Yeah.
You know, all because, you know, he couldn't play before. So then he's like, oh, I'm going to get better. But he only added an hour, maybe 2 hours extra a day. That's it. We all have 24 hours a day. If you train an extra hour a day, you know, that puts you, you know, 365 hours a year better than somebody.
Ahead of somebody.
You know, and when you look at those numbers, you're like, whoa, like that's a lot of hours that I just put into this. And it took me an hour to do. Like, that's not bad. You just got to stay consistent at it. And you also have to put the environment is what we keep talking about. I think you have to put yourself in a good environment. Like,
Yes.
you can't have a palm tree in Boston. Like, they just don't do it. It doesn't make the palm tree bad. No. It doesn't make Boston bad. No. It's just not the right environment.
For that specific tree.
Exactly. And you have to think about, like, I really have to consider myself that. It's like, okay, this is who you are. This old environment doesn't fit you anymore.
Yes. A lot of people get stuck on that.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you get depressed. And, like, I have some friends that are just depressed. Like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. It's like, go, well, what if this? What if that? And it's like, what if you fly? Like,
what if it works? Why don't you say that?
Yes.
Why don't you just think, what
Positive.
if it works? Yeah, the positive side of it,
Like,
not just the negative part of it.
For sure. And it's tough being around those people because I'm not that way.
Yeah, me neither. And for a long time, I was, I guess, afraid of your own potential. Is the best way I could put it.
100%.
Because you have all these ideas, but then you're afraid of failing.
Oh, for
and
sure.
that is the worst part of
Guilty.
it. It's like when you go back to like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, they're like I failed so many times. The thing is, you guys get to see, the highlights. It's when I succeed. And most people should. It's like same thing I was telling you earlier. I was focusing on like what if I failed, and when I looked at what if I failed, I looked at maybe 2-3 weeks of somebody making fun of me. But when I looked at if I succeed, it's a lifetime of
for sure,
and also of what you learn. So yeah, it's again, you have to put yourself out there. Whether you failed or not, how are you gonna know?
Yeah,
how are you to find out?
You gotta apply.
Exactly.
So being in the fire department, you see, you go to the nursing homes and you see these stuff, and you hear people, because I'm also EMT, right? So I'm sitting in the back of the bus, or ambulance, right?
Yeah.
And taking them to the hospital, and they just start sharing stuff with you, and it like really gives you perspective. Like, it really shows like, whoa, life is short.
Yes.
And they're telling you, oh, follow this, do this. I wish I would have done this differently. And so I'm more like getting a life lesson more than actually trying to save you. Like I'm learning more about myself through you than anything else. That's because you have the right mentality. You're not letting these things go to waste or just go by. You're actually paying attention. For sure.
Most people, you could throw them an opportunity and it could hit them right on their face,
and not even know.
Yeah, they can't even see it.
For sure.
And it might come in a way that might not be so sweet or appealing at the time, but then later on you're like, that shit prepared me.
For sure.
I hated it at the time, but man, I appreciated that. That's the same thing I look at it with like dishwashing. I started off, my first job was as a dishwasher.
Yeah.
I hated dishwashing. And then later on in life, I'm like, I actually don't mind dishwashing that much.
Yeah.
Do that. If it paid enough money, I'll probably want to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
So it taught me a lot of about hard work, one, because doing dishes suck.
Oh, for sure.
Especially when you do it. If you think doing dishes suck at your house, try doing it at a restaurant.
Yeah, never.
Yeah, it was not fun. Definitely do not want to go back there. But again, more with the firefighting. When you have you experienced anything where like it scared you a little bit, where you're like, oh man, that was tough. I might make you reconsider a little bit, or no, you have not had that experience yet.
Nothing. I've had some, nothing where it was catastrophic, but it could have been. But I mean, I'm still in that phase where I haven't seen a lot yet.
Yeah.
So through the experienced members on my team, right, they say, hey, watch out for this. Hey, look for that. If you see this type of smoke, you see this type of flame, you see any discoloration, like they teach you. Like I said, in the example, you had 5 years to make $1 million. If you lost it, could you make it in 2.5?
Yeah.
They are sharing that information for me. So it's very nice to be receptive, because I have to go in there with the mindset of like, I don't know anything, so teach me everything.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
That's the best mindset.
And you don't want to go where they're trying to teach you and you're like, oh yeah, I know. Oh yeah, I know. Because it makes them feel like, why am I going to even talk to this kid anymore?
You know everything, do it yourself.
Good. Yeah, go ahead. And then when you mess up, I'll just yell at you and say, oh, I thought you knew.
Exactly.
And then it just makes you look, at that point, I feel then they start questioning you.
Yeah.
Not saying that you feel stupid, but that's being stupid.
Yes.
Because you have your ego is so high, and we have some of those people that I work with.
Yeah.
And before, like, oh, I know everything about everything. It's like, but if you did, then why are you not so good at your job?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
not trying to be disrespectful,
exactly.
but like, I don't trust you to help me do this.
Yeah.
Where you have those other ones that are like, hey, try this. Hey, try that,
Just FYI, try this way. Maybe it might help you out a little bit better.
For sure.
And a lot of people also need to understand that experience is the best teacher.
For sure.
So I love talking to older people or people that have been doing something longer than I have, just because they're going to know little tricks and they might see something coming, way faster than you do, just because they just been around so long. I always try to learn and respect from the people that came before you. I'm not saying I'm going to do everything the exact way you did it.
For sure.
I'm definitely going to be looking to improve on whatever you teach me, but they provide you with like a platform to start from.
For
right?
sure. Yep.
Because you only know what you know. So when firefighting, is there like a big family thing? Like, I don't know how that works. Are you guys like, is everybody very like helpful in the sense of like everybody trying to look out for you, or is it's just like a regular job? Some people are like that, but some people are just like, listen, I came here to do my job. I'm going to do my job. I'm gone.
I definitely don't think it's like any other job, because if you ask any firefighter, we literally in unison will say firefighting is the best job to ever have in the world. Like, it really is. And you see so many things, you meet so many people, but it's the camaraderie, So think about like your family. Don't think just like your mom and your brother, sister, but think of like your aunt, your uncles, your cousins. Like, you are going to have those people that you don't really like because they're just either they're lazy or their attitude sucks, or, they just do the bare minimum, but they're part of your family. So it's family. Really, when push comes to shove, there's 6 of us that work on the same shift. It's like, I don't care if you're lazy, you think you know everything. In an emergency, and I need your help. Can you help me?
Yeah.
That's it. Can you pull me out of this fire? Can you pull me out of a dangerous situation, like a car wreck? Car accidents happen all the time, but you don't realize how dangerous they are on the side of a highway. Like, think about when you're driving on, say, 95, Route 3 or something, you cruising, you see people, whatever, pull over to the side of the road for a moment and just witness that. Now get out of your car. Now try to go help somebody else. Now do this. Now try to think of, I have to save this person, but I also have to realize that this person that's texting and driving, it could just smack me anytime.
Yes.
Or they could have a medical emergency. It doesn't just have to be texting. They could be distracted. Radio, kids, whatever. Things happen. People are tired. People fall asleep at the wheel. And you got to now think of that too.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is the training.
You see it all the time, and I still don't know how it happens when you see like emergency crew, cops, firefighters, EMTs, all in a like helping somebody in the highway, and then a car just plows, and it's just like, you did not see the lights?
Yeah, for sure. We say that all the time. You didn't see the flashlights.
How does that happen? Like, you did. Like,
yeah, it's they do the study, a psychology study, where it's like when you focus on something so much, you miss everything else.
It's kind of like my seatbelt alarm. My girl's
don't
like,
even hear that thing.
How do you not? And she's like, oh, I was not even hearing it. She's like, how do you not hear that? It's just blanked out of my head already.
For sure.
But I've been good at baby. I put my seatbelt on all the time now, ever since
Times
the accident. Yeah.
I will say seatbelts, seeing it firsthand, seatbelts literally save lives.
Dude, I didn't, everybody talks about it. Everybody tells you. You see it on TV, click it or ticket, all this stuff, right? You see it everywhere.
Like, yeah, whatever.
But when you experience it, I haven't experienced it myself, but I've been family member survived because of seatbelt. I seen the accident that we talked about last time. The people that did not have the seatbelt had serious injuries, and the people that had their seatbelt were not seriously hurt.
For sure.
And it all came down to the seatbelt.
Yep.
Yeah. So click it or ticket. Put on your seatbelt, everybody. Don't be too cool for it. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Because you get that a lot of people just like whatever, and it will save your life, man. So definitely wear your seatbelt.
100%.
Yeah. Have you ever been involved in a dramatic? Not you yourself, but you've shown up to a scene where it's just like, oh man, like this is probably gonna stick with me for a little bit, just because of what you've seen. And I don't want you to get into specific, because of course we have to be mindful of those people, and you don't want to say something that might hurt somebody, or they don't want it out there.
Yeah.
So, but have you? Oh my God. Sorry about that. It's all good.
Oh yeah. Yes. So I think the ones that when you show up on scene, and in this world, in this line of work, you're gonna see dead people. Like you're called for an emergency. You're not there to hang out, right? You get that.
Yeah.
So you do see this stuff, and the ones that stick with you are the ones where somebody is like closer to your age, or they remind you of like your parent or grandparent. So a lot of like the cardiac arrests, when people have heart attacks and you're sitting there like you're pumping their chest, at the time you don't even think of it, because like I said, you're training. You're programmed to push your feelings aside for a moment and help this person survive, right? And it's the aftermath where you're sitting with your brothers and your sisters at the dinner table or something, like dude, that was crazy. Like we did this, and then it hits people differently. Like you have people that are like, we had a young kid, like 20, like commit suicide, and then he hung himself, and his dad found him. So we have to go in there, and you gotta like get this person down. Like you're the one that has to, in a weird way, you have to cut the rope. You gotta lay him down. You gotta try, And so imagine that hits you, but at the same time, it's like, I think of it this way. Who around me is struggling that bad that might think like that's the solution. Yeah. And if that's why I say like with the veterans, it's like getting out, like that was tough. So if you, I don't know if you can pull my number, my contact information, but like just that stuff, you need to talk about it. Like, dude, I got you, or girl, like you're good. Yeah. There's zero judgment. Therapy is huge. Yeah. A lot of us, the newer firefighters, we all go to therapy, and it's not a bad thing. It's like
the stigma is gone, because before I know there was kind of like
you go to therapy, you're sick,
you're weak,
you're weak, you're not a real man in this environment. It's like, no, because why would I project it onto, say, my spouse? Why would I project it on my children? Yes. Like, I'm hurting. Why do I need to hurt them? Exactly. Go to therapy.
That's what happens a lot of the time.
For sure. And that's all it is. It's that generation trauma. And it's like, no, I decided to do this. Yep. She didn't. You didn't. My friends didn't. Why am I going to take it out on them? So let me get myself right. So you learn from those experiences where you say, okay, those cardiac arrests, what can I do? How did they die? You're like, oh, they weren't really in good health. This is what they were doing or eating, or, something happened in their life. I'm like, okay, can I avoid that? Yeah, exactly. Can I be better to do that? If I'm depressed, if I'm going through struggles, because it happens. Everybody goes through self-doubt. Yes. Everybody goes through a stage of some sort of depression, sadness. Yes. It happens. Yes. You can't control it. We're emotional human beings. Correct. Even
that's what makes you human.
Exactly.
We'll be robots or animals.
For sure. And you see all these positive people out there promoting it, and I'm not saying what they're doing is false. Majority of the time it's true. But they also face those demons in their heads where it's like, you're useless. You're a nobody. You can't do this.
Yeah, I hate when not that I hate it, but like some of those people, I wish they would show also the bad side of it.
Yeah.
Show when you're also struggling, because if not, somebody, well, you just like that.
For sure.
You just have it figured out.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it's no, they just don't show that part of it, for whatever reason. But I think they should, because it's beneficial to everybody.
Yeah.
If you see, that's why sometimes people get so surprised when you see somebody commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, but he was so strong. He was so this. Like, I didn't not see it coming. And they were just holding it inside this whole time and not letting it out. And nobody noticed it.
For sure.
So talk about it. That's the best. With whoever. If it's a friend, a trained specialist, or get it out somehow. Yes. Because it will eat you up. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And I was one of those guys where I was very not receptive. How do you say that word?
Receptive.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. to things like that. I was one of those guys. Like, just toughen up, man. Like, what are you talking about? Like, if that's what the route you want to go, you're just weak. Then with age, you learn, like, no. So there's things that if you might not be in the position that you have somebody that you could talk to. Some people have that issue. If you're lucky enough, great for you. But if you don't have that outlet, you might that be the only answer that you see. And that's terrible. Yeah. I have known few people that have committed suicide, and I think I told you the story. I witnessed somebody commit suicide, and it messed me up for a while. I mean, I was 8 years old. I still, if I close my eyes, I could still see it. Like, and I was just 8. So imagine, like, that's why, like I said, I admire all of you guys, firefighters, police, EMTs, because the things that you guys see, and then you have to take that home and deal with that internally, and nobody cares, especially in this climate of how society is, where, like, we talk bad about our service workers, where it's just like, man, back in the day, all the respect to cops, firefighters, and EMTs, it was very respected. So, and I, for the most part, I hope that's still the case. Yeah. But you do see times where you're just like, wow, like, you have no idea. Yeah. You have no idea what these people go through every day, and they make one little mistake, and you want to crucify them.
For sure.
And it's like, it's not fair.
No, they treat it as like a normal job. If it was a normal job, then why is not more people like knocking at the door to be a firefighter, EMT, or a cop? Exactly. And people like always forget that we're also normal human beings.
Correct.
Like, we bleed just like you. We have emotions just like you.
Correct.
We just have to control it when we're on the job.
As best as you can. You know, that's the most you can ask. But I see people yelling at cops, or like, man, I see a like, I have seen people, I don't know if you experienced it, but I have seen people yell at a firefighter because they're trying to get their truck back into their house. Yeah. And I have seen people beeped, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. I would gladly stop and give them the time, but I have seen it, and I'm just like, that is so ridiculous.
For sure.
So just dealing with things like that is kind of like, that'll probably be the worst part for me, because I will have a hard time not, like,
for sure,
addressing it right there.
A thing with that too is when you see firefighters and police, especially firefighters, like, let me only speak on that, right? Yeah. When we're out at the grocery store getting food, we have the fire truck, we're in uniform. Yeah. People always say, why am I paying the tax dollars for you to go out and do this and that? And it's just like, first off,
are you kidding
I'm supporting me? I'm supporting a business in my community.
Correct.
I'm putting my money into the community. I'm also showing face. Correct. I'm showing you that I am a human being. I need to eat food just like you.
Correct.
And I need to go out and have a life as well. Well, why didn't you go shopping before this and that? It's like, we eat as a family.
Correct.
Like, when you go food shopping, like, I'm still working.
Yeah, exactly.
So just the other day, we were going grocery shopping for dinner. Call comes in. Guess who has to drop the basket and go to that call?
Yeah.
It's not you,
Yeah.
mister, who wants to get on me because I'm shopping.
Yeah.
Like, no. I have to now leave, put my basket, go across town, go do that, and then come back, get my stuff, and then, cook. We all accept it. Like, we get that. But just have some, like, decency to just not sit there and just ride us. Oh, we're wasting our tax. You're not wasting nothing.
Yeah.
We're not using that. We're out and about doing stuff. We just could have just came back from a call where, it was your grandmother who just had a heart attack. We tried to save her, but you don't even know yet because you're just in your own world. And then you don't realize we're the guys that just witnessed that saving or trying to save your mom, your dad, your person.
Exactly.
But you don't know because you're so stuck into yourself where you just want to sit here and you're so miserable and upset about us out here trying to eat.
Yeah.
Like, we're not sitting here lollygagging. Yeah, that is we're not like, whatever, we're going to waste all the fuel. We don't have time for that.
Exactly.
Like, we got to do stuff.
Exactly. And also it's like do you consider like your the worst day at your job just means somebody might yell at you or you broke something or you messed up something?
For sure.
Worst day at a job like yours is, somebody you witness a few people died, or you or your friend or your partner or yourself.
For sure.
Now that is some high stakes. You know what I'm saying? It's not, and some people forget about that. So I try. And there are, when it comes to cops, there are some bad apples out there, but
for sure,
it's not everybody, and you don't know who the bad apple is, so don't judge before, before you get to have the interaction with the person.
For
just
sure.
because it's a cop, you automatically assume things of a firefighter or whatever. You automatically assume whatever you see on TV, and it's just like, no, you gotta wait for the interaction with. They're a human being just like everybody else.
For sure.
So you don't know until you actually interact with them.
Yep.
So give him the time to show you, because like I said, it could be a bad person, or the person could be having a bad day. Give him the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly.
It's not a person at your McDonald's like yelling at you for something. Like it's not the same thing.
Even then, like, I really feel like you shouldn't even be talking to somebody like that. Like, example. This is I say this because, like, I grew up from, like, being spanked, right?
Yeah.
If you think that you can say something to somebody and not expect to get punched in the mouth, don't say it. Yeah. And I say that because being in the military too, you say some stuff. Most of us were men, right? Most of us were men. So you have those
first, yes.
And so you say stuff in the military and people are like, no, you don't talk to me like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what rank, let's go.
Yes.
You're a man, I'm a man. Let's go here and figure it out.
Exactly.
So if you're not going to say it to my face, don't say it. And two, if you think that you can say it, get ready for a repercussion.
Exactly.
Because I might not be as good with my words, but I'm going to fight you.
Exactly.
Like I'm not going to sit there and say that I punch people. Like, I'm not that
No.
type
I
of dude,
understand
it's
what
like
you're
a
saying.
confrontation. Like, just hold it. Like, you're mad. It's not that person's fault.
Exactly.
It's you need to learn how to control yourself.
Exactly.
It's your emotions. It's your feelings. I can't make you mad. You can make yourself mad.
Correct.
Because of what I'm doing. But I'm happy doing what I'm doing. So how am I making you mad? Correct. So that's the other thing too, is I had to learn. I had a very bad temper. I had to learn that I'm the master of my emotions.
Correct.
We can't control it. Think about it this way. How much can you control in the world? Nothing. But who can you control?
Exactly.
Yourself.
Exactly. That's what I always tell people. The best thing a lot of people do what I call people watching. They just watch what everybody else is doing. I do the opposite. I try to watch myself because I am trying to learn about me as much as possible.
Yep.
So I know how I'm going to react to certain situations.
Yes.
So I tell people the best thing you could do, instead of trying to figure out the world or trying to like read somebody else's mind, just read yours.
Yeah.
Because
for sure.
you, by that alone, you're going to be able to anticipate how you're going to react to any situation and control yourself. But if you don't even know how you're going to react in a certain situation, then you're setting yourself up for failure.
100%.
So I always tell people, the best thing you could do is figure you out. Then you could figure out the rest, or how to move with the rest of the people or the world. But if you don't even know yourself, like you're lost.
For sure.
Because people ain't going to understand you. People don't have to understand you. understand yourself, and then you could move a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know what my triggers are, and I know I'm like, okay, this is gonna trigger me. Let me walk away. Let me go this other direction because I know that this is gonna like make me feel a certain way. But if you don't even know, you know, you're lost.
For sure. It's like little things. For me, it was traffic. Right?
Yeah.
Bro,
we all go through that.
I was the worst. Like people like my girlfriends and stuff that I was with at the time, like back in the day, they were like, I don't even want to be in the same car with you. Like, and so I really had to sit back and look at it. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, well, how can I start? How can I do that? How can I control myself? Everyday stuff.
Yeah.
Sit in traffic. How does it make you feel? Can you control that?
Yeah.
If you can't, find a way to control yourself.
Yes.
If you can't park these cars like Bruce Almighty and Jim Carrey, like, if you can't do that, learn how to your emotions.
Correct.
And figure it out. Listen to radio, play something, a podcast, whatever it is, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Find that thing to do, and then you'll really figure out how to control yourself.
Yeah, I was the same way. When it came to when it came to traffic or like somebody doing something stupid. I have chased people down on my car, and I'm like, oh my God, that is terrible. Like it's like what are you doing? Like I've done it. My wife was just like, oh, like you are a crazy person. And you know, you have to learn to let those things go. One, is not worth it. No. Two, if you're talking about it and you're upset about it, that means you lived through it. So you might as well just be grateful that you did and move on. You know, because we've seen all those stories. You go talk shit to the wrong person and you just don't know what could happen. For sure. When nothing happened to you, you got scared maybe. Nothing happened. So you might have just, you know, don't escalate the situation because you just don't know. I had terrible anger problems. And the only way I dealt with it was working on myself because, like I said, the world doesn't care that I'm angry about you doing this or that. You don't even know that I'm angry about, you know, whatever. And I hear this a lot now, which makes sense. It's like when you're young or you're going through something, you think everybody's looking at you. Or you did it to me on purpose. Yeah. And the person might just be like, I didn't see it. Was an accident. It happened to me the other day driving. I was driving. I don't even know what I did wrong. Obviously I did something wrong, but nothing major. And this guy chased me down and like put his window down and started yelling at me. And I literally went like this to him. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what I did. And I just kept driving. Yeah. And then he just sped off. Yeah. And I was just like, I don't even know what I did, but if you're that angry, I must have done something. For sure. And, you know, we were on the highway, so I really don't even know what I did to make the guy so upset. But he was, like, really upset. In my mind, I looked at him, and I'm like, I could escalate this. Or I'm just going to say I'm sorry and just keep going. Because, to be honest, I don't even know what I did. Yeah. So, whatever. Yeah.
Like, have a good day, buddy.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said. I just looked at him, and I was just like, I'm sorry. Like, I hope you have a better day, man. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Kindness will like extinguish most of the fires that are out there because 100%. A lot of people don't experience that. That's why they're so angry. Yeah. Like whatever they're going through, they think like that's the way that they handle it. And if you're just kind to people, like you don't know what people, you hear it all the time. Oh, just be kind. You don't know what people are going through. It's like you say that, but like just do it. Do it. Yeah. Like you don't know. Like you are going through stuff. And you want people to have sympathy for you, but other people can't go through the same thing. Exactly. And, you know, you check yourself. You're like, I really got to, as you say, are you a people watcher or are you working on yourself? Mm-hmm. Are you watching how you treat people? Are you watching how you react to people? Are you watching how you are you? Exactly. You know, and I feel like people lose that all the time because we do. We get so caught up. Social media, technology, this and that, where we're like, yeah. And you just think like those keyboard warriors on Facebook. I was like, 90% of them wouldn't ever say it to your face. Correct. So forget it. Yeah, don't pay attention. Who cares? Like, if they can't tell you where they live and how to meet, or if you say, I have a problem with you and you don't come with a solution, then keep it. Yeah, I don't need to hear it.
I just seen this meme from, I don't know his name, Spider-Man. That's the kid that plays Spider-Man, where he says, if you have a problem with me, text me. And if you do not have the number to text me, then you shouldn't have a problem with me because you do not know me.
Yes.
And I was like, that is 100% correct.
Dude, that's exactly everything. Summarize what I was just saying. That's true.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. But all right, brother. We did an hour and a half. We're at 12. I know you do have to leave. But we'll get another one in.
For sure.
We got a few
many more coming.
Exactly.
And we're going to get down to some nitty gritty stuff of like real estate investing and LLCs, taxes, all that stuff. But I feel like just like you got to get personable with the person first.
Exactly. So you could, do the hardest things later or the funner things.
Exactly.
Whichever way you look at it.
For sure.
So definitely looking forward to it. And thank you very much for your time, man. Absolutely. I really appreciate it. Nick Pelletier. Back again, firefighter, Navy, realtor, and so many more things that you guys are all going to get to see it sooner or later.
For sure.
Thank you very much, EDJ Podcast, EDJ Studios. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Yeah, dude.
Time flies.
Bro, I know. I looked at the thing. I was like,
oh, shit. He told me he has to leave.